There is a number of good opportunities out in the Middle East and other places. There are small ways of doing it, of getting entities, legal entities out there that allow you to explore, or that allow you to get out of things after a year. Because a license in the Middle East, a trade license lasts a year. But you need to be looking at longevity. Scottish companies need to have a face that is recognisable, and I mean recognisable by being person to person. It's person-to-person work out there, not just business-to-business. Use the networks that are around, like the SDI, like the HIE, and use the Global Scots to get the start. Because then you've always got a personal contact. And then they will give you pointers to somewhere else. And if it doesn't work out, you can always go back to your Global Scot or go back to somebody else and follow it through in another lead and another lead. But get that relationship going. And once you've got those relationships going and you're out in the Middle East yourself, you will meet people in other events. So there'll be embassy presentations when there's a mission going out. And they invite top-end CEOs of companies that you wouldn't have the chance to see by going to the company. But they're willing to come out to meet you because it's a trade mission and it's at the embassy. So there's a little bit of kudos that they can gain from that, especially amongst their own community as well. And that takes away $100. All the Scots I know, everybody's in the Caledonian Society. And when you go out to their functions, like the St Andrew's night, the summer Cayleys, the whiskey tasting nights, the Burns nights and stuff like that, you will meet industry chiefs. The Scots have always been seen as have this ability to be within engineering and within the forefront of things. They're managers. They've come out of the industries here in the 70s and 80s, and they've gone overseas, and then they've taken root overseas, and they have other networks which are informal. So you need to be out there socializing. In Qatar, it's a joint venture group, getting in touch with a local Qatari that has worked within the government companies, that has a good network, that has a good European understanding, that has already got joint ventures that are operating, and use them because they will introduce you to their friends who are also moved out of Qatar Gas and government companies into private sector. And that's another relationships that you can explore and cultivate. And most of them are very social. They like to have a coffee. It's not the hard sell. They don't really want the hard sell. If they want to know what you do, and then they'll investigate, or they'll give it to somebody else to investigate. And if you're getting nowhere, you go back to that guy and you say, well, the person not really getting much response. Let them put the leverage on. You're not being the bad guy, and then the introduction starts again. Going to the Middle East, realizing that it's a place where there is money, there are funds, there are huge mega projects, but just like in the UK or in Europe, you have to be seen as in touch or local to the market. All right? So you need to have a representation there. Whether that's a minimal place with one person working from there on a small entity, allowing you to get into the projects and gain the local information to allow you to bid and tender, then that's the way you start. But you have to be represented. If you have a specialist item that they really want, they'll fast track you. But you may never get another project because you're not always there. Whereas if you're there, you will hear of things through the guys in the Caledonian societies and the Global Scots, through HIE or through the SDI or UKTI. They get information coming out through the government first.